Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have with us Mary Talbot, an online business manager, mentor for soulful entrepreneurs. And we'll learn from her about how ancient wisdom, cycles of energy, and intuitive tools like astrology and human design can guide aligned business growth. We'll learn about market authenticity, scale, how businesses can scale sustainably and lead from their deepest values. Welcome to the show, Mary.
Thank you for having me, AJ.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form, Mary. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll talk about aligning business with soul purpose. So we'll talk about all this. But before that, let's talk a bit about your journey, your background, your story, so that people know who they are listening to.
Well, I studied ecology at university, and that was my career for a few years. I really wanted to save the rainforest and help, the environment and all that. But it was really hard to find, it was hard to find satisfaction in that field because either it was with nonprofits that had little financing for my work, or in corporations, which basically wanted to destroy everything and just build condos on top of wetlands. That was devastating for me. So I left that career. And at first, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Maybe I wanted to be a novelist or a writer or a retreat leader. But I knew I needed a website. And I discovered a whole world of business and marketing and entrepreneurship that I adored. And I dove straight into that. And then the rest is history. My friends started asking me for help, and I took on clients. And now I'm consulting for strategy with business owners that need to grow their business and their impact.
Absolutely. So your journey, your quest for looking for a website, made you enter into this whole thing about ancient wisdom and modern businesses. Means, tell us a bit more about that. Means, it sounds like a bit of, I'm very intrigued to understand. What did you learn from your website journey? How did you get back to the past? And what are the things that present modern businesses, tech-reliant businesses can learn from things like astrology? Help us understand that part of your journey, Mary.
Yeah, I skipped a little bit quickly over that part, but since I'm a teenager, I've been fascinated with yoga and astrology and personal development. So when I started my business, especially after burning out in my ecology career and knowing that I had to align my values with what I was doing day to day, I decided to only work with life coaches, holistic healers, yoga teachers, light workers, all these people in the spirituality and personal development field, because that's how I made sense of my own world. I knew I needed to be healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And when we act from this place, marketing is very different. Our business strategies are very different. We're not as prone to go after scarcity mindset or to rush people into a sale, because we want to be aligned with generosity and contribution and just feeling good in our purchases, I guess, when we are a customer. So the strategy I'm offering to my business clients is very much informed with their purpose, their values, how they want to show up in the world, and being truly authentic to being a good person and not just seeking money for the sake of it.
Absolutely. So let's understand. You wanted to do something in ecology, and there you found that a lot of businesses are not so thinking about ecology, but more about profit and trying to do things which were against the very things that you came into that line. Now, if you come to modern businesses also, they want to have a lot of money. Many of them, sell it to bigger companies and all. And here you talk about soulful business. Isn't it something like ecology also? There people didn't listen. Profit is the a primary thing. Here also profit is. Who is listening to you, Mary? I want to understand things from the ground. Who are these people who are listening to you? Is it about real soulful purpose, or is it only about money?
Oh no, it's about real soulful purpose. They're solopreneurs often, or they have very small teams, content creators, people that you would purchase their online course from. They want to find work-life balance. They have families, or they have other passions and interests. And business is one part of their life, but it's not all of it. And they're not looking really to sell their business. They're more of a personal brand that, they're the name of their business. So they are marketing themselves, their values, their services, and that cannot be outsourced to anyone else. So we're not in the app market of selling to a bigger corporation. We're really in sustainability, making it work for us, being excited to wake up in the morning and doing what we have to do to put bread on the table.
Absolutely. So tell us. So not the bigger companies. Only it is the solopreneurs who have to think about the soul, about the purpose, about doing things right. Tell us a bit about these entrepreneurs. What is it that they want? How is it that you guide them?
Well, let's take, for example, as a life coach. That's one of the most popular category of clients I'm working with. So they create their content, they sell online courses, they have their social media going, they might have a YouTube channel, private clients, they have a lot going on. And sometimes it's easy to just get caught up in the next thing, and not look far enough in the future to think strategically when you want to grow. And when we're short-sighted in this way, it's so easy to fall into the traps of compromising our values and doing things that, well, are a bit cringe. It's not terrible. You won't have a depression because of it, but actually, it's not really your voice. It's not really your brand. It's not really how you want to show up and inspire people in the world. And if we let that slide, then it becomes a business that's very unsatisfying because we attract different kinds of clients. They have their complaints. It's not really aligned with what we really want to do. So I help them just come back to themselves, find those truth about them again, because often we lose sight of it. We are so busy with bookkeeping and ads and customer service, managing the small team we might have part-time, that we don't take the time to stop and really think, well, what would it look like in 2 years, in 5 years, and how are my actions today compounding to that moment?
Absolutely. So let's look at few things one by one. You talk about business as well as spirituality. So how do both these things calibrate? Is it because either you can think about the spirit outwardly world, and or either you can do business, or can they also meet? How do you see them?
Well, we have very practical tools. For example, astrology. Where the moon is in the sky will affect how energetic or social or withdrawn you will feel in your own life. It's an evolutionary cycle that goes through 28.5 days. So being mindful of that, for example, will affect, well, when I'm writing my marketing, when I'm taking calls and doing interviews, when I'm just reviewing my processes and removing the excess, for example. Another tool that I like to use is Ayurveda. So we all have our constitution, but the day also has high peaks of Pitta, Vata, and Kapha moments. And when we leverage those, instead of fighting against them, well, we're even more in flow. So for example, Pitta time is between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. That's the time to be productive, to get things done, to just do all the work that requires a lot of focus, a lot of concentration, and a lot of sweat, tears, and blood, if you wish. And then after that, it's Vata time. So imagining, visioning, being social, being creative, that's a better moment. And Kapha time was before Pitta, so from sunrise to 10 a.m. it's very slow. It's the morning. So unless you woke with the sun, then take your coffee, review your to-do list, answer emails. But you're still waking up, and it shows. So don't force it, because it's just going to be an uphill battle. Might as well embrace that moment, because it'll shift to Pitta and then to Vata.
Good to know. At least I start my day, working day, shows at from 10 o'clock, not before that. Earlier, I just think about it, but yes, now I know. Earlier, I used to not feel so energetic, or just wanted my brain to rest a bit and do other things. But yes, after 10 o'clock, you want to be in the flow, in doing, some of the good shows that you can. But in terms of businesses, how does this astrology work? How do you are you able to explain them? People will think, Mary, you are talking about something so ancient, and it is not even scientific. Also, people see. I come from India. We know how people you have been looking at astrology for many hundreds of years, and now when you talk of it, I agree with you, but I want to understand for the audience, global audience who may look at these things very differently. So I help us understand, how are you able to make them understand, business, especially young leaders, about all these things. They will say this is how not scientific.
Well, I was a skeptic too, and I did some Googling about it, and I found some research actually of people who could make correlations between big groups of people and who they became in their careers later on. It was mostly associated with Mars. But I'm also of the school of thought to say, well, try it. As you said, you start your day around 10 a.m. We know it naturally. Our bodies, we might have an explanation through astrology. I'm not pretending that the stars are having a pull on us, but I think we're all affected with the same energies in the universe. If the planets move, why wouldn't we also move in a certain way with our spirit? If it doesn't resonate, or if it doesn't make sense, you really don't have to follow those guidelines. But if they do, why not? JP Morgan is famed to have said, millionaires don't follow astrology, but billionaires do. So I guess there's a secret there.
Yes, absolutely. Rich people, some of the rich people, if I understand and hear their stories, yes, they do look at auspicious date, auspicious time to do particular thing, and maybe it works for them, it works for them, and they are. But one thing, does following astrology make you superstitious in today's time, as many would say that, or is it we should look at it differently?
Well, let me give you another example, just the feminine cycle. It's well known that the first half of the feminine cycle, we're much more creative and engaging and social. And the other half, we're more withdrawn, reflective, want to stay in our blankets and, don't mingle. Would that be superstition to believe that? I mean, it doesn't work for every woman, and it doesn't work for men. So basically, it's a bit magical or woo-woo. But when we attune to our energy cycles and our creativity cycles, and if we find that it matches, then why not follow it, whatever the reason is? Astrology is a way to explain it, but there are so many other ways, I'm sure, that we can explain how our spirit is looking to be expressed. It's not normal to always be high performing. We need to rest, and these things happen at different levels throughout the day, throughout the month, throughout years. And that's what I help my clients notice, basically. Where are they in their cycle, and then helping them align whatever they need to do in their business with that energy, so that it's the most powerful.
Right, Mary. So someone who wants to get started, how do you get them started? What are the few things that you get them started with?
Well, having your birth chart is a great way to start, I find, because, for me, a birth chart is a metaphor of your internal world, of your whole personality. You have a lot of planets on your chart, and those are different aspects of yourself that might be stronger at one time or another in your life, in your business, in a moment. And just knowing where they are in the chart and what their own little personalities are. I know it sounds crazy, but it's a little bit like the internal family system, where we have all kinds of an amalgamation of characters in us. So knowing that birth chart really helps just with knowing ourselves more. And then tracking, I like to track the moon, where it is in the sky according to my houses. I find that's often spot on with what I'm doing, what I'm called to, like what I'm inspired to do and what I'm not inspired to do. I also really like the human design. So you just need to enter your birth information and you get your profile. And that says more about your energy and how you're making decisions in your life that appeals the most to you, that makes the most sense for you. We're not all the same logical person, for example. Some of us are more emotionally driven or reflective or action oriented. And when we understand that, then how to say it? It's easier to lean into those things and stop putting a lid on our instincts or our intuition, because we just embrace, well, we're not all different. We're not all the same. We're all different. And our ways is also good if we can just learn to work with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. You deal with a lot of these business people, and business people are always, focused on the return on investment, that this is the money I'll spend on this. So here, how do you show them the success part, that listen, you listen to me and now you are achieving success? Or they will say, this success is because I worked hard and all the bad things will go to Mary because she suggested that.
Yeah, I take 100% credit in every success of their business going forward. No, not at all. It's more about finding clarity. They know inside them something is not working. They're feeling blocked. They don't have, well, we're limited as one person. It's helpful for sports team to have different team players. So in business, it's the same. It's helpful to have different perspectives. And mine is about the bigger understanding of the business as a whole, as an ecosystem, basically. I didn't stop being an ecologist because I stopped working in ecology. So I also see business in that way, as this ecosystem. And we have our own blinds. We all have our blind spots. So I'm helping them find that click inside that feels so right. And from there, every other decision is it's much easier to make.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's much to learn about all this from you, Mary. And I'm sure a lot of businesses, soulful businesses, will want to understand all this from you, be your client. What is the best way for them to do so?
They can visit my website at delightedspirit.com. That's where
Wonderful.
Everything lives on the internet for me.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.